Credible Messengers, we live and direct from Toronto, the 6th side, with our brother, Coach K. This is the brother that taught me how to not be too stressed, how to be blessed. This is the brother that has inspired so many people over Blab, Periscope, and almost any platform you can think of, Instagram, Twitter. He's been working for years. Coach, I'm so happy you're here. How are you, my brother?
Man, like I said, I'm blessed by the best. Too stressed to be too sexy to be stressed, and worth my weight in diamonds and gold, man. We are turn up tonight. Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm just happy you're here, brother. I'm happy you're here, and I honor you. I honor your leadership and your mentorship. So with that being said, I'm just going to go right in, brother. Please tell me, do you believe that sex is sacred, brother?
Oh, absolutely. Sex is sacred. You know, sex is seriously sacred and should be treated that way at all times, you know, and not just used as a marketing tool or a tool of leverage, you know, or a reward or a what do you call that, or a trophy cup, you know, sex or healing and manifesting, you know, and it's something that is really powerful, yet is really misunderstood, and most things that are sacred are misunderstood.
So tell me, what is Tantra? Because a lot of people get Tantra confused, and especially when we're having conversations about sex, Tantra gets thrown inside there. And I know that you are a student of some master teachers who have transitioned, who rest in power right now. If you can just let me know, brother, for my people, my listeners, my viewers, what is Tantra, brother?
I'm really going to have to start with what Tantra ain't first. I have to start with what Tantra ain't.
Can you grab my chargers? Sorry, love.
It'll be a little easier to start there and then work into what it is, because everybody thinks Tantra has something to do with sex. Tantra is something that you can turn on and turn off. That Tantra is like this glass. I can fill it up when I want, and then it empties out, and then it's something that is really not is disposable. People think Tantra is disposable. See what I'm saying? Tantra is not disposable. Tantra is not temporary. Tantra is ancient. You understand? And Tantra is a science. Tantra is not sex. It's not the science of sex either. Okay? That's one of the biggest nomenclatures that people right now, if you type in Google, how many pages do you have to look through in order to find a Tantra entry that does not have the word sex in it? Being trained under the Grandmaster Sanyata Saraswati, who is the father of Tantra in North America.
Yes, sir.
His exact words were, there's this much sex in your little pinky, in the fingernail on your little pinky in Tantra. Okay? So how could I determine who I am by what's in just this fingernail? Not even my whole hand. He didn't say like, your fist is the sexual Tantra and the rest of your body is Tantra.
Yes,
he said the pinky is the sexual aspect of Tantra. So this is like less than 0.100%. I can live without my pinky fingernail.
Yes, sir.
I don't necessarily have to have it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So, but what Tantra is freedom. Tantra is freedom of Kundalini energy through raising the consciousness by using the breath. That's what Tantra is. And so if you're not incorporating the breath into Tantra, you're not doing Tantra. You're not living Tantra. Tantra is also a lifestyle. Tantra is not something that I can stop doing. You see what I'm saying? Tantra is almost like a nationality. Can you stop being black? Can you stop being white? Can you stop being Russian? I'm going to stop being Russian. I'm only going to be Russian, you know, when I go back over here to such and such. You see what I'm saying? Tantra is not even like a religion when I can switch from it. But you know, I used to be a Christian, but I'm not a Christian no more. Now I'm an Orthodox, whatever this is. So I used to be this and now I'm that. It's a lifestyle. It is what it is. You can't change Tantra like a gender. You know, I went and got an operation, so now I'm not this gender, now I'm this gender. You're doing Tantra or you're not doing Tantra.
Yes,
Tantra is a lifestyle. Tantra is also feminine by nature. It's feminine by nature. So a woman is naturally tantric. She's naturally tantric because Tantra is much like a gorilla, a pit bull, an angry lion or charging elephant or charging bison. When you mess with her, she doesn't like that. She like handles things like these animals that I just said. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But Tantra is about freedom. She wants, you can't cage her. You can't cage Tantra. You can't say, Tantra is, I was having Tantra the other night because I squirted. I just like to talk to people about the easiest way for you to know to run away from a tantric fraud. Okay? If they have to mention sex in their conversation about Tantra in the first, let's give them 2 minutes. If they say sex more than 5 times in the first 2 minutes, ease out the room. Just ease on out. Okay? You see what I'm saying? Because, and for me, I say Tantra is like if my sister's name is Jennifer. If you call her Teresa more than twice, she's going to have a problem with you misrepresenting her. So why would you keep calling my sister Jennifer? And I'll be like, hey, Victor, her name is Jennifer. She don't like it when you start calling her out of her name. Don't call her Teresa again. You don't call her Teresa twice. And Jennifer's going to stop working for you. So if Tantra represents freedom and freedom says I'm not going to work for you no more, what's the opposite of freedom? Slavery. Now you put yourself back in a situation that you say, I can't stand slavery. I'm a free people. I'm a free person. How will you be a free person if you ain't dealing with the freedom aspect of this science, this feminine science? Tantra was created for men. It was created for men. So we would learn the science of Tantra. The woman had it naturally. Then it got written down for men to study because we don't know about the woman. We always at the barbershop talking about what, Victor? I just don't get her. I just can't figure her out. So there's this whole science for men. But Tantra is not even for women. It was never designed. It's feminine art designed for women, just designed for men. So that we all can be free. Tantra doesn't deal with political party. Tantra doesn't care about Bernie Sanders versus Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump or what Obama did or rock the vote. You see what I'm saying? Tantra also doesn't care about Black History Month. You know what I'm saying? Tantra can't stand when you try to base her origin somewhere. Well, this is mine. It's kind of Chinese. It's kind of like this right here. The 4 ancient schools are the schools that were dedicated to Tantra, to an essence where they all said, we're going to place this science up so high because of the positive results that it gives us as a society. So your 4 ancient schools were Tibet, China, India, and Africa. See what I'm saying? So these are your ancient schools of Tantra. In Africa, the ancient school was in Luxor in ancient Egypt. You see what I'm saying? But that was on the continent of Africa. So it's really amazes me how it's been turned around so much. I shouldn't even say it's amazing me because that's our phrase in North America. Sex sells. You want to bring something to America? Then I need to put it with some sex so I can sell it. But I can't just let you just come in here and tell them that you're going to give them something that's going to let them be free, Victor. What? You know how we do in America when you talk about freeing people. We start, where he at? Where is he at?
It's the same thing here in Canada, brother.
I meant North America. In North America. You see what I'm saying?
I did completely.
If you don't want to, if you come in here talking about you got freedom and it's for the low and all they got to do is practice and nobody's going to get no under the table money. Oh, no. But Tantra was too big. Tantra was too big for them to put it up under the manipulation of just one entity. So they started whittling down. They start whittling at it. And then when Google got here, everybody was like, I need to use this as a marketing, just like superfood. When we hear the word superfood, we don't investigate at all. We just start saying it's a superfood. Like
kale. Yep.
Don't get me started. And we have and then we don't want to do any research whatsoever. And then somebody comes out and says, I got this and I got that and I got, and it's so sexy and it's the orgasm. What about freedom?
Yes, sir.
What about freedom? Because that's what Tantra is about, living free. It's a lifestyle. When you look at me, I'm the Tantra lifestyle. I live it all the time. When I'm passionate, when I'm slightly depressed, when I ain't had no sex in 2 months, or when I had sex all this week, you understand? That's the tantric lifestyle. Because when you look at what this modern day Western definition of Tantra is, it's, well, if you ain't active in sex, then you can't practice Tantra. Isn't that really funny? Now you got limitations on this woman. You know how women are when you start putting limitations on them. So what do you mean? I can't, I only, somebody gives you a definition. Tantra is the connection of two. Oh, wait a minute. What you mean? Why has it got to be the connection of anything if Tantra means freedom? You see what I'm saying? But people are trying to box it and they want to use it as a selling point. They want to use it as a buzzword, and neuro-linguistic programming. I say Tantra, so that's higher than your regular yoga. So it's not yoga, it's not hatha yoga, it's not Bikram yoga. People are always coming up trying to say something, trying to outdo somebody. But Tantra is non-competitive. Tantra is non-competitive. Tantra doesn't have anything to do with whether you had an orgasm or not. Wow. It doesn't have anything. You can practice Tantra.
Nah, brother, take a glass of water. All this science, brother, come on, replenish yourself, because you just hit people in their barathri and every glare. Come on now, brother. Can I give you? I can't even. I wish my sons were old enough to still be up right now so they could hear what's going on. I put them to bed a half an hour ago. If my sons were a little bit older, they would have got all this right now. But I got it on tape. We good. We good, money.
I'm just tired of people selling this falsehood. But see, and you go and you say, I don't rock with white Jesus, but let me sell you sexual Tantra. What? You just got finished saying you don't want one deception, but you're going to turn around and sell somebody another deception. For real? Yes, so then what if I come back and I say the brother who suffers from erectile dysfunction can practice Tantra and live a happy life? What about if I tell you a person who has been celibate or abstinence for a long period of time, 6 months or a year, can still be practicing Tantra? Because they're doing what they need. If you say you practice Tantra and you ran over and got a sticker that says, I voted, you a clown. I said that. I said that. I said that. I never seen the father of Tantra ever go vote. Ever. Never had a sticker on that said.
When you say the father of Tantra, that's because I know who you're talking about. I got his book right here. But who you talking about when you say the father of Tantra, brother?
I'm talking about Grandmaster Sunyata Saraswati. That's what I'm talking about. Go Google it. Sunyata Saraswati was the first. There is no tantric manual in publication today before 1986, I think, or 80. There is no manual written before The Jewel in the Lotus.
Yes, sir.
Saraswati. Point blank, period. You understand? Everything is a plagiar.
I got it right here.
The third edition.
We'll put it real close. Yeah.
The third edition. That's it. Now, his wife at that time, Bodhi, wanted to push the sexual aspect. So she put the man and the woman in the Yab Yun position. But that's so dangerous that you could see something that's so sacred and start to misuse it because of your perception and a spiritually immature mind. Because you sit there and think that, well, because now they're facing me and now I'm practicing Tantra. Well, what do you do? How do you breathe in that position? How you breathe? How you transfer the energy in that position? Does it matter where the hands are in that position? What's going on? How do you practice the tantric kiss? And what were you doing 1 week, 1 month, 6 months from then before that happened for you to prepare to not injure anyone in that position? Because you could really do severe damage to a person if you're not prepared and get into that position and start actively switching places with a person. See, I don't want to switch places with someone who has toxic waste.
Mm.
I don't want to switch places with someone who's in slavery.
Mm.
If I'm free and this person is in slavery and I switch places with them, they're not going to want to come back. For one, it's going to be scary for them when they go over here and get into a free heart and a free body. And it's going to be terrifying for me to be over here in a slave body and a slave heart.
Yes, sir.
So once we separate, it'll never happen again.
Mm-hmm.
The lifestyle is over. When you go into in the marriage vows, when it says till death do us part, they're talking about, is the oxygen of the relationship still circulating? See, that's when it's over. If the oxygen of the relationship is not circulating, if there's no life left in the relationship, then the relationship is dead. It doesn't mean that I have to physically die. You get a death certificate and then the marriage is over. No, the marriage is over. Many marriages are over right now because there's no life force circulating there.
Yes, sir.
Because I saw a person's, when I went over and switched with them and I saw their vile heart, I didn't want to be with them no more. Why would I want to be with them anymore? And when a person who has no sense of freedom, remember Harriet Tubman?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Harriet Tubman said, I would have freed many more if some of them would have wanted to go. Some of them were telling on me like, they're leaving. What are we going to do when we get free? Who's going to beat us every day? Where do I get my food from? You're making it very difficult for me. I just had a conversation with somebody earlier today when I was challenged. I wasn't even challenging them. I was giving them truth. And they was like, oh, my God, it's so much to think about. And then I quoted them back from the other master teacher. And what I tell them, I said, only fools duck when the truth is thrown at them.
Ooh, Dr. York, yo.
So you doing this right here? I'm side swiping you, and I'm saying, Victor, you got something on your collar. You like, don't talk to me like that. Bro, it's just I see it right there. No, don't talk to me like that. You must be jealous of me. Because I told you got something on your collar. No. So this whole discussion, man, I'm glad that you just jumped up and made that a point. On February the 14th in Atlanta, Georgia, I'm going to be with a full night of demonstrations called the Sensuality Experience, and I'm going to be doing the piece on Tantra. There's going to be some eroticism. There's going to be some poetry. There's going to be some BDSM, and I don't mind being on the same stage, but I'm there to identify and reintroduce Tantra as a spiritual science, not as something that has been polluted to where it's strictly everything about it has got to be sexual. So that's my feelings on Tantra, brother. Excuse me for being.
No, brother. This is what we're here for. So let me ask you a question. What has informed your lived experience? Because you just dropped some jewels on us, and ain't no swine around here, brother. So I know all the jewels have been gathered in some mighty, mighty containers. What has informed your lived experience? Because you don't just deal with Tantra, yoga, meditation, sexual sacredness. You also deal with astrology and the sun, moon, and stars, brother. You have so much knowledge, and I just want to find out what has informed this work.
Humility. Humility. Someone, I've had this question asked to me a lot of times. They say, yo, you're pretty deep. Where'd you get such and such? And I always say, I've sat at the feet of great men. See, when I learned martial arts, before I started learning Tantra from Sunyata Saraswati, every time that we had class and we bowed in, we always started class with, we honor and respect the masters that came before me and strive to follow in their example. Yes, sir. Strive to follow in their example. So you must be humble. Humility is the skeleton key of all ancient mystery schools. No matter what class you came from, you had to be humble. So that's the key of where my information came from. So I would have to give a big shout out to Abby Ilias, who was Dr. Malachi Z. York's right-hand man, who was the one who originally turned me on to numerology and astrology, as he was a brother from the original school of the Moorish Science Temple, and he studied physically up under Elijah Muhammad. So this brother was studying up under the Prophet. Then he moved to the Nation of Islam and was studying with Elijah Muhammad. And then he was studying with the Ansar Allah community in the early 70s with Malachi York. And so by the time I got to him in 96, all he was doing was just bucket loads. He was just dropping bucket loads. And one of the reasons why I'm so passionate is because he was pouring a lot of information on a half full cup. You know what I'm saying? And I was embarrassed that I didn't fully empty my cup all the way to get what he had for me. And then when I met Sunyata Saraswati, he just started increasing my network. That's where I met Debbie Lovell, who turned me on for the third time into astrology. So the first time Abby Elias was telling me about the astrology. Then there was another sister named Serene Gaia. Then there was another sister named Letissa Tatum. But when Debbie Lovell came in and she invited me to her house on Thanksgiving 2001, and she says, "Yo, this is how you do astrology." And she just came and she said something to me that was impossible for anybody to know just by looking at my chart. You know what I'm saying? So she was like, and she was like, "Oh, you've had a lot of guns in your face before and you've seen a lot of death, right?" And I was like, whoa, what are you talking about? And she was like, "Oh, it's right here." And from then on, that was 2001 Thanksgiving. I was like, "Show me how you do that."
Kind of what you did with my wife and me earlier today. You did my, you don't play.
And so then in 2006, I met Sister Myra. Not Sister Myra L from New York, but Sister Myra Moss, who's now in Omaha, Nebraska, who is alive, well, and kicking Capricorn. Same birthday as Noble Drew Ali, January the 8th. And it was like, she introduced Royal God astrology, which really gave me a larger perspective of looking at the science of astrology as energy, as an energy platform. And she says, we're energy masters. People call us astrologists, but we're actually energy masters, and we're translating the energy that's coming off of this sheet, you know, this graph that is your life. This is your life map. And then I ran into the god Ra Aku from Cosmophysics, you know, like one of the illest. He got to be in the top 3 in the world, who really turned me on to, like, even the science. What I was showing you today was how to rectify a birth chart to make sure the time of birth is correct, so we'll have the right rising sign. You have so many people who don't have the right rising sign, and so they're going to get only 2/3 correct information. But why would I go somewhere and say, you know what, I'm going to pay you 100% of your fee for you to give me 2/3 of the correct information? So that's why we always start with the time of birth, because on the birth certificate, it says time of birth, but it should say vaginal entry into the world. Because when I came under the studies of the Rosicrucians, then they let you know that the soul enters the body on the first breath. So the body could be breathing inside of the womb before it passes through the vagina. So you have 4 children. If any one of your children came out crying, then it's a prerequisite that he already had what? Oxygen in the lungs. Where'd you get this oxygen from? How could you come out crying? Wait a minute. How could you? Because before her water breaks, the child is breathing through his gills. The child, you had gills. That's why you are a reptile. If you get dry skin, you become what? Ashy and start peeling.
I got that shea butter on right now, brother. Ooh.
So that means that why is my skin turning dry if I'm not in water?
Yes, sir. The egg breaks.
I could breathe up underwater through gills originally, and now so now when I came out, my lungs had to start working. That's why a lot of times you get children when they have to pump the water off of their lungs, because they're not using the gills anymore. And if you don't use it, you lose it. So somebody says, I don't have any gills. I know, because you don't use them no more. When you left from straight reptilian into amphibian, the gills stop working. And that's a natural progression of the human body. But you can go on YouTube and type in baby swimming and take a baby right out of the mama and drop this joker underwater. And he'll just be up under there just looking around, not looking for any breath, not panicking, not nothing. He'll still be at home. And you often see that we have dreams about water. And when you look at the way the head is shaped, when we are down low, when we're like horizontal, we see that the brow comes out so the water will stay out of our eyes, because we always were swimming like this and looking at the bottom of the ocean. Now that we're upright, we wear glasses and we don't like wind hitting us directly into our eyes. Or when it rains, we kind of hold our head down. So when we go back into using the medical astrology from cosmophysics to verify the time of birth, we go back and look for certain markers. So this morning when I asked you about your stomach, or I asked your wife about whatever the body part was on her, these are certain astrological markers that everybody has them, because it's the map. Your chart is the map and you are the center. It's up to you to navigate and stay off the rocks. That's my job. Really is much like a lighthouse, brother. All I'm trying to do is shine people and give them some light so they can keep their boat, keep their vessel off the rocks. Nobody, because once you get too close to the shore, you're going to tear up the hull. Now you start taking on water, and now you start sinking. Things start going bad for you. You feel like you got a lot of bad luck. You feel like you're under attack. All this because you're taking on too much water. But if you would have had the proper guidance to stay away from the shore, then you wouldn't have the bottom of your boat ripped up to shreds and taking on water. So that's why I'm so passionate about Tantra. That's why I'm so passionate about astrology. That's why I'm so passionate about Tai Chi. That's why I'm so passionate about healing arts and energy work and things like that. And not returning to the way of our ancestors. But if it's not broke, I don't need to fix it. You understand? Some people say, well, everything evolves. I do believe that. But guess what? I don't need 3 lungs. If there was an Adam, he only had 2 lungs. You understand? What happens if a woman see a dude, he got 2 penises? We don't want women. You don't want that. I don't want to see a woman with 3 titties. You see what I'm saying? Some things don't change, don't need to be changed. And they need to be kept authentic. Some things need to be evolved. But we as a species, we regenerate new cells every 72 hours. So why would I think that I wouldn't change from some systems that I am, came from? You see what I'm saying? So it's really like trying to realign people back to evolution. We're supposed to evolve. Growth is the purpose. Everything else is the result. We didn't come on the planet to just stay the same over and over and over again. We came to move forward. You see what I'm saying? To advance to something else. We said we want to be like gods, so we have to grow because we're the ones that fell from God. Tantra is a device. Tantra is a spiritual science that is resurrecting now in the Aquarian age because it's all about knowledge. See, Tantra will work really fast if you do it like you're supposed to. If you got an authentic system. That's why now when you see these people talking about I do Tantra, ask them what their lineage is and look at their teacher and look at their life and what are they living? Does it look like they're living the lifestyle? Are they really free? Or are they trapped off by something that may be their own illusion? You understand? Tantra is some high level magic, brother. And of course, they made temples with all these sexual positions around it because that is just like the ancient Egyptians put up Anpu, the dog, to protect the doors. That's just like Baphomet made up for the Wiccans to scare away the people who were small-minded. You had to come through that so you could say, I can look at that and get past my fears. And then all of a sudden you go into a tantric temple, ain't nobody having sex. But it says on the door, yeah, where you was at. Now, guess what? You lose, leave. I just came in here for the sex. Thank you very much for letting me know who you were. Kit, hit the, Knight Rider. He was like, Kit, hit the button.
Look at that door, yo.
Right. Yeah.
My brother, thank you so much. I got another question for you, fam. It's my second last question. If you had the ability to speak to 16-year-old Coach Khayr, what would be a lesson, a blessing, or something practical you could give this brother?
I would tell 16-year-old Khayr, I would have to give him two things. One would be a lesson that I learned from Abby Ilias on Tamaray, on the land.
Ooh.
And he said, and I quote, excuse the profanity, but I quote, I would tell young 16-year-old, just like Abby told me, you need to learn to shut the fuck up sometimes and listen. That's what I would tell young 16-year-old Khayr. I would tell him to listen more. And I had to give him more jewels. I would also tell him to love his father no matter what. I would tell him to love his father no matter what. I used to sometimes go to I used to stay in another city, and I used to go back home to my hometown and see my friends and not go visit my father. And I would tell 16-year-old Khayr, don't do that in the future. I wasn't doing that when I was 16, but as I got older, I was doing that. And then when my father died, I thought about all those times that I missed those opportunities to get wisdom from 16-year-old Khayr. I would tell 16-year-old Khayr to be more of a historian and be more technically minded. I would tell 16-year-old Khayr to start writing books immediately. You are strong enough. You are smart enough. Start writing down everything you hear from everybody else. Make a stronger book collection of your own notebooks. Start your own library. Keep your own notes on your adventures. I would tell Coach Khayr to keep a personal journal and a book of shadows at age 16. I would have introduced 16-year-old Khayr to astrology and to witchcraft and to magic at 16. I would have introduced Brother Khayr at 16 to sacred sexuality at 16, because I didn't start having sex till I was 17. So at 16, I was still a virgin. So the way that it was being explained to me, my father was not the best teacher. You know? As far as game and kicking game, masterful. But as far as the sacred arts of Tantra and sexuality and healing, I would expose 16-year-old Khayr to that because his mind was ready. At 16 years old, I was being recruited for West Point at 16. So his mind was ready. The body was ready. I just didn't have that particular guidance. And I think the most important thing I would introduce to a 16-year-old Khayr would be meditation. I would have to introduce him to meditation immediately and explain to him that his life would be so much more qualitative than quantitative. You know what I'm saying? His life, he would be able to get more quality out of life if he meditated more. That is what I would tell a 16-year-old Khayr. Absolutely. Ooh. And I would tell 16-year-old Khayr not to be so hard on himself and to forgive himself more and to practice more acts of forgiveness and compassion. Absolutely. And I definitely would have told that joker, well, I don't know if I would have told him don't smoke weed. I might well let him get away with that. He wasn't smoking at 16, but he started smoking at 17. But that's a message that I would tell a young Khayr.
Brother, I've done a lot of interviews. That's the best answer. I ask everyone that same question, and that's the best answer I've heard thus far. And that's just my humble opinion. Whew, I appreciate that. I'm waiting 3 more years. I'll be able to play that for my son. You know, my eldest son, I'm going to play this exact scene for this brother, my eldest son. And when my youngest son, Emmanuel, gets, I may even play for my 2 daughters just because there's jewels for them as well. Whew, brother, thank you so much. So my last question is very basic, brother. What is your call to action? How do people subscribe? How do people engage? How do people follow your model, brother?
Oh, man, listen. For me, what people can do is go over to CoachKhayr.com and click here to keep up with Coach. Brand new link I just put in, CoachKhayr.com, and click here to keep up with Coach. Join my mailing list. That's really, I'm keeping my team intimate. So just because you're on Facebook, you can find me on Facebook at Khayr Carter. That's Khayr Carter. You can go to my fan page and find Coach Khayr. You can go on Instagram and find Coach Khayr. You can find me on Twitter, Coach Khayr. But when I have your email, that means we la familia. Yes, that means I really want you to know something before I want the rest of the world to know it. You see what I'm saying? I already had an account on Facebook that had over 5,000 people. Now I got over 7,000 people on my Facebook fan page, but I don't know all of them. I like developing intimate relationships with people to help them evolve to where they are capable of going, to start realizing potential. You know, not just being a life coach. A lot of people ask me like, well, what kind of coach are you? And I just be like, I'm not a simple life coach. So it's really about the evolution. You know what I'm saying? I call it visioneering. Visioneering, like it's when you're a visionary and an engineer, you slide them together. You see what I'm saying? I want people to understand how to engineer their vision, you know, and make it go forward. So if they can just come there and they want to keep up with Coach Khayr, get on my list, that means they'll be able to be getting updates directly from me, not a machine. I type all my stuff out. I need an assistant, but don't have one. I'm working toward it. But until I find somebody who's qualified to type in my voice and speak, then I'll take care of that myself. Also, this is tour the site. I also want to know that I also have a free gift for anybody who comes over to the site. Yeah, I believe in letting money circulate. So I want to give everyone $100 who comes to my website.
That sounds good to me, man.
All they have to do is go to CoachKhayr.com, and then up in the top is going to say, here's that $100 I promised you. Click on it, watch the video. You don't have to really do anything after that. It's really a wrap. But I want everybody's dream to come true. We're all living in a dream, so why not let's make it true? You know what I'm saying? Your wish is your command. That's what I really want people to have the power of, is to realize that these wishes that we are proceeding with from our mouth can turn into concrete things that we can have, that we can use to do more of God's will. Like as me and you say all the time, it's really not about the money. I just need the tools so I can do God's will. My objective is to gather spiritual points while I'm here. I'm going to do whatever it takes for me to gather spiritual points. So if you want to do whatever you're doing, if your objective is not growth and gathering spiritual points, then that's on you. That's why we always say, don't put money first, man. Make yourself happy. Fill yourself with joy. Then money will chase you. So that's my message right there, bro. That's my call to action is meditate more, breathe deeply, slow it down, love yourself, have more compassion for yourself. And come on over to CoachKhayr.com. Hit that link. You can also follow me on Instagram. You can follow me on Twitter, wherever you at. And if you in Atlanta, salute. And you definitely can find me on Periscope, because I'm going to be on Periscope right after I get off of here talking about what an amazing interview this was. Wait, I got one more.
Go ahead, brother.
One that's really important to me, brother, is moonmagic28.com.
Yes,
Moonmagic28.info is where I help people manifest their dreams and find out what their definite purpose is. See, that's one of the main differences between moonmagic28.info and all the other moon programs that are out here. Mine is geared into, you must find out what your definite purpose is first. You don't get to come in and say, I just want to do these two goals. I want to get a car and I want to get an apartment. You have to establish what your definite purpose is, because so many of our people are drifting. They have the wrong definitions of who they are. They have no control over the great power of their infinite mind. So if you don't have power over the great mind that you have, who's had power over it? And how can you win without power over your mind? I can't really even, fathom that. So that's the one thing we do, is show people how to manifest using the 8 phases of the moon. I got some astrology mix in there. I got that definite purpose mix in there. I got some switch words in there. I got some NLP in there. I got it on steroids. You understand? Like, there've been a lot of moon programs around since the 60s, as you know yourself. But mine is very unique because nobody can do it like me. Bet you can't do it like me. Bet you can't do it like me. I see some other systems out there that are effective, but I really find that mine is just at another level, man. Serious.
Yes, sir. You're so well. You definitely are, my brother, a credible messenger. I love you. I honor you as your students. I'm humbled to be in your presence and to be able to build with you. My brother, I appreciate you. Are you going to come back and visit us, God?
Oh, absolutely, man. Whatever you have, man. This is an excellent platform. I salute you. Salute what you're doing as an entrepreneur, as a wonderful example of a father, and a man in your community. While they said one day, you go home, mother, mom, I saw a man talking about you.
I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that. Well, thank you, my brother. And to all our viewers, whatever you desire, you truly deserve. Thank you, my brother. I'm honored and humbled.